It's midnight and you're tuning in to Nightline with me, Liyana Hassanel. The top stories. Parents can now register kids aged 5 to 11 for COVID-19 vaccination on MySejahtera. And Securities Commission unable to conclusively establish if Tan Sri Azam Baki breached trading regulations. Good morning. Parents can now register their children aged between 5 to 11 for vaccination via the MySejahtera app, following the recent Health Ministry's conditional approval of Pfizer-BioNTech's Comirnaty vaccine for that age group. The availability of registrations was highlighted on Twitter by a Health Ministry social media and communications consultant, Aisha Ridwan, on Tuesday. Health Minister Khairy Jamaluddin was among many users who retweeted the post. Aisha also said details will be announced at a later time. Last week, the Health Ministry gave conditional approval to inoculate children between 5 and 11 with Pfizer-BioNTech's Comirnaty vaccine. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said the decision was made following a meeting held by the Drug Control Authority. He added that this group of children will be given 10 micrograms, which is a smaller dose compared with the same vaccine given to those aged 12 and above. Cases on the selling of fake COVID-19 vaccination certificates were so far recorded by the police in 4 states, namely Selangor, Terengganu, Johor and Kelantan. Deputy Inspector General of Police Datuk Razaruddin Hussein, however, said the activities were still under control as police would continue monitoring the situation from time to time. Datuk Razaruddin said that the cases were being investigated under Section 420 of the Penal Code for cheating and selling the fake vaccination certificates. He said the authorities were also closely cooperating with the Health Ministry and all information obtained on the selling of fake vaccination certificates would be relayed accordingly. On Monday, the media reported that 7 individuals, including the owner of a private clinic in Gombak, were arrested after they were suspected of issuing COVID-19 vaccination certificates to customers without actually administering an injection. Police also uncovered the sale of COVID-19 vaccination certificates in Terengganu, believed to be fake, when they seized almost 100 vaccination cards and arrested a doctor at a private clinic in Marang. In Kelantan, 4 people, including the operator of a private clinic, have been arrested for allegedly falsifying COVID-19 vaccination cards. Kelantan Police Chief Datuk Shafin Mamat said the 4 suspects were aged in their late 30s and early 60s, comprising both sellers and buyers of the fake vaccination cards. He said the Kelantan Police Contingent Headquarters received a police report on Sunday morning. Datuk Shafin added that further checks showed that 4 individuals who were said to have received the vaccine did not have a record of their vaccinations in MySejahtera. He said that during the raid, the police also seized vaccination cards along with other documents. All medical practitioners who have issued COVID-19 vaccine certificates to people who didn't actually receive their shots should be punished. Malaysian Medical Association MMA President Dr. Koh Kar Chai said that such medical practitioners must face the heaviest of punishment if found guilty, as such an offence would have put countless lives in danger. Citing the latest incident reported at a clinic in Gombak, Dr. Koh said it has been shocking to find that more than 5,000 vaccination certificates were issued by the clinic without giving vaccination.
Isu penjualan dan penipuan sijil vaksin palsu, saya tak akan guna perkataan berleluasa sebab ini kes yang kedua, walaupun ada kemungkinan kes yang lain akan timbul lagi. Pihak MMA amat kecewa dengan kes penipuan semacam ini. Doktor yang tipu semacam ini memang tak ada integriti langsung.
He added that the MMA will support this sternest action taken against any medical practitioner found to be involved in such irresponsible and criminal acts, as the association will not allow a few black sheep to tarnish the good name and reputation of the profession. He also suggested that the Malaysian Medical Council revoke registered practitioners' license practice, while the Private Facility Enforcement Unit at Health Ministry should also take other stern measures, such as immediate closure of their premises and charge those found to be involved in court. Meanwhile, members of the public also expressed concern that such activities were taking place.
Tindakan orang yang menggunakan sijil vaksin palsu tu tak bagus lah. Sebab benda ni kebaikan untuk semua. Maksudnya kalau dia menipu guna tu, dia menyebarkan penyakit. Seleloknya diubahlah dan kalau boleh ambillah sijil yang betul.
Dia sepatutnya kalau macam tu kerajaan dia kena ambil tindakan yang tegas lah. Dia macam apa tu orang kata ambil kesempatan dekat kesempitan macam tu lah. Dia sepatutnya kerajaan ambil tindakan kat dorang lah macam tu. Tak patutlah dia buat macam tu. Tahulah dia macam dia kerja dia doktor macam tu senang-senang. Dia nak buat macam ambil kesempatan macam tu lah. Kalau saya rasa macam tu tak patutlah.
Takut matilah dia tu. Betul tak? Tapi orang tak ada. Kalau yang mati tu mati juga. Betul tak? Kalau yang sakit tu sakit juga.
In other news, the Kelantan Health Department is still conducting further investigations regarding the COVID-19 infection involving 44 students in Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Agama Naim Lilbanat. Its director, Datuk Dr. Zaini Hussein, said in a situation where the virus was already in the community, it was difficult to determine the cause of the infection. However, Datuk Dr. Zaini said samples from the infected students had been sent to the laboratory to identify whether it involved the Omicron, Delta or Beta variant. He added that the clusters was declared as the MB Teleport cluster last Friday. Based on the investigations, a total of 256 close contacts have been identified, and all of them have been instructed to undergo quarantine. And those experiencing any symptom have been advised to go for a screening. The Kota Baru Health Office also suggested that the school's face-to-face teaching and learning process should be postponed from Tuesday until January 25th. The Securities Commission has said that it is unable to determine if Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki breached any rules in allowing his trading account to be used by his brother. The regulator, via a statement, reportedly said that the investigations have ended, but it is not able to conclusively establish that a breach under Section 25(4) of the Securities Industry (Central Depositories Act 1991) has occurred. Section 25 stipulates that every security account opened with a central depository must be in the name of the beneficial owner of the deposited securities or an authorized nominee. Tan Sri Azam is currently embroiled in a controversy involving the purchase of corporate shares between 2015 and 2016, while he was the MACC Director of Investigations. However, in a press conference on January 5th, Tan Sri Azam said he did not do anything wrong, as the shares were bought by his brother, who only used his name. Meanwhile, Tan Sri Azam has said that he is thankful for the decision by the Securities Commission, which found that he did not commit any offence over the shares trading account issue. In a statement released following the outcome of the inquiry by the Securities Commission, Tan Sri Azam said he has been informed by the SC that the inquiry into the matter has been concluded, and as such, it has closed the inquiry file accordingly. Tan Sri Azam added that with that, he would continue his responsibilities as the Chief Commissioner of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission to fight corruption in the country without fear or favour. 10 schools located within a 10-kilometer radius of the Pulau Burung landfill in Pulau Pinang, which was on fire last Wednesday, have been ordered to close temporarily until Friday. Southern District Education Chief Officer Muhammad Ziauddin Mat Saad said the decision was made after the district disaster management meeting on Monday. He said the decision was taken as the air index in schools within a 10-kilometer radius showed that the air quality could affect the health and threaten the lives of residents. He said the Southern District Education Office will inform no later than this Saturday on the status of the reopening of the 10 schools, based on the decision and advice from the Seberang Perai Selatan District Disaster Committee. Muhammad Ziauddin said during the closure of physical classes, students would resume with online lessons. During the period, he stressed school children should also wear face masks, reduce outdoor activities, and to seek treatment at nearby clinics and hospitals if they are unwell. It was reported that some 400 people from 86 families in Ladang Biram and Kampung Kebun Baru have been ordered to evacuate following air pollution brought about by the fire that gutted some 16 acres of the total 40-acre landfill. On Monday, State Department of Environment Director Sharifah Zakia Said Sahab said the air quality within a 7-kilometer radius from the landfill was still polluted and dangerous. The government has improved the implementation of the Malaysian Family Automotive Aid by allowing flood victims to make a cash claim if their vehicles had been repaired in a workshop that is not registered with the Automotive Aid program. In a statement on Tuesday, Finance Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz said the applications can be done online from Wednesday. He also said physical applications can be done at any Disaster Operation Control Centre or nearby Inland Revenue Board branch. Applicants can refer to the frequently asked questions on the official portal, Malaysian Family Flood Relief Assistance, for more information. Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul added that the government remains committed to ensuring holistic aid through Malaysian family, especially those affected by the floods, so that they can return to normal life as soon as possible. Following the recent floods, the government announced various initiatives to help flood victims, including the Malaysian Family Automotive Aid of up to 1,000 ringgit for the repair of their damaged vehicles. To date, about 20 automotive companies with a network of 1,800 service centres nationwide have agreed to join the Automotive Aid initiative. The Sultan of Selangor, Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah, has given his consent to allow the full use of the main prayer area and other available spaces in all mosques in the state to conduct Friday prayers. The Selangor Islamic Religious Department, JAIS Director Datuk Muhammad Shahzihan Ahmad said that the Selangor Sultan also consented to the space between congregants being set at 1 meter apart. Datuk Muhammad Shahzihan said a letter will be issued and distributed by the department to all mosques and surau involved soon for the implementation on this Friday. He also said that the new ruling would increase the number of congregants for the Friday prayers statewide up to 35%, subject to the physical size of the mosques and surau, compared with the previous ruling issued on November last year. He pointed out that a total of 427 mosques and 316 surau will be involved with the new ruling. JAIS hoped that the new ruling would be fully utilized by Muslims, especially the younger generation, who have been trying to find a place to perform the Friday prayers. After the break, Thaipusam celebrated moderately under strict SOPs. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah and the Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Hajah Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandariah on Tuesday extended their Thaipusam greetings to Hindus in the country. Through a posting of the Istana Negara Facebook, Their Majesties hoped that this auspicious occasion for the Hindus would be celebrated with joy, while at the same time observing the stipulated standard operating procedures. Their Majesties also expressed hope that this year's Thaipusam celebration will continue to foster the spirit of unity among the people of various races and religions. Meanwhile, National Unity Minister Datuk Halimah Muhammad Sadiq is satisfied with the level of compliance by the public with the Standard Operating Procedure SOP for the Thaipusam celebration this year. She also praised efforts by the management of temples, including the Sri Subramaniar Swami Temple in Batu Caves, and its chairman, Tan Sri Air Nadaraja, and his volunteers for the ability to control the situation during the celebration. She said despite the strict SOP, the temple management is able to ensure the health of Hindus who fulfill their vows in conjunction with the Thaipusam celebration. She also congratulated the Royal Malaysia Police for making sure the Hindu devotees could perform their religious rituals smoothly. Earlier on Tuesday, Thaipusam was celebrated on a much more moderate scale throughout the country, as the threat of the COVID-19 and the Omicron variant loomed large. It was a quieter and more subdued sight as compared to the hundreds of thousands who used to throng the temple complexes across the country in the pre-pandemic years. At the Sri Subramaniar Temple in Batu Caves, thousands of Hindu devotees marked Thaipusam at the Sri Subramaniar Temple, limited to only a few hundred at a time in order to curb the spread of COVID-19. The sight was a stark contrast to the huge crowds which would usually gather at the temple on the day of the festivities. The sounds from the Indian drums and Indian trumpets accompanied the devotees carrying their milk offerings up the colourful stairs to Lord Muruga. Despite the reduced numbers and regulations in place to check the spread of the coronavirus, many devotees at the Batu Caves temple complex welcomed the government SOPs and said they appreciated the opportunity to perform their prayers at the temple this year.
Oh, sangat gembira kita boleh menunaikan doa kita tahun ni sebab last year kita tak boleh. So this year we are so happy to be here today so we can fulfill our vow.
Tahun ni tak meriah sangat disebabkan COVID, so kami semua ketat dengan SOP. Tapi untuk ada kebaikan jugalah untuk mengelakkan untuk mendapat COVID ke apa-apa. So daripada tu semua agama Hindu berasa meriah lah sebab kami bangun pagi mandi dengan air kuning, lepas tu pergi ke tepi sungai, lepas tu pergi sembahyang dekat sana. Daripada sana kami ambil susu, lepas tu sampai ke sinilah. Taklah, sama juga. Tak ramai orang, selesa, bersih. So sambutan dia baik juga, macam biasa.
In addition to the Kavadi ceremony not being allowed by the temple management, the number of devotees entering the temple grounds had also been limited to 9,000 people. 18 sessions of prayer ceremonies were held throughout the day, with only 500 people allowed to participate per session. Some 1,300 police personnel were also put on duty at the area to ensure public safety. In Johor, out of a total of 26 temples allowed to hold Thaipusam celebrations, only 7 temples were allowed to hold processions. A check at the Arumigu Tenda Yupani Kovel Temple found that the percentage of Hindu devotees present to celebrate Thaipusam was considerably lower than the pre-pandemic years. In addition to mandatory temperature screening and QR code scanning through the MySejahtera application, visitors were also required to use a special one-way route.
Polis, Kementerian Kesihatan, and MKN datang. Dia pantau kita punya tempat untuk 10 hari. Kita ada perayaan untuk 10 hari, dia cakap, okey, kira kita mengikut apa yang dia nak. So, dia setujulah kita punya SOP ikut dia punya cara lah. Okay, so once again we have to thank the government to give us the opportunity to celebrate the Thaipusam in the moderate way.
Only 1,000 visitors who have been fully vaccinated are allowed to attend religious ceremonies at the temple each day throughout the celebrations from January 9th until Wednesday. Highway users who experience detection issues at the RFID lane need not worry, as Plus Malaysia Berhad personnel will be on hand to scan their vehicle RFID tags with a handheld device. In a statement, Plus Malaysia Berhad said, should the tag remain undetectable, a coupon for a full detection diagnostic at the nearest Touch and Go Fitment Centre will be provided. It added that if the RFID tag still has detection issues after the test, Touch and Go will replace it free of charge. Plus also said it recorded an encouraging 10% of transactions using RFID after its January 15th implementation across the entire North-South Expressway. It was reported on Monday that some highway users experienced traffic snarls on the North-South Expressway stemming from detection issues with their vehicle RFID tags. Plus, in the statement, also said that it has doubled the teams assisting customers at toll plazas and improved the visibility of directional signatures to increase familiarity with RFID lanes. Highway customers who wish to provide feedback can do so via the Plus line or the chatbot on the Plus app. Extensive damage in Tonga, deaths reported. This and more when we return. The foreign front. Aid agencies reported extensive damage in the Pacific island nation of Tonga on Tuesday following a massive underwater volcanic blast and tsunami, as deaths from the disaster was confirmed. 3 days after the volcanic eruption, early indications of the scale of the crisis on the virtually cut-off island kingdom finally emerged through patchy satellite phone contact with Tonga, surveillance flights and satellite images. Authorities said so far the body of a British woman swept away by the tsunami had been found, and at least one other person has been reported missing. Tonga, in the meantime, is expected to spend days or even weeks cut off from the rest of the world due to the difficulties in repairing its sole undersea communications cable, which an operator said was ruptured during the massive volcanic eruption. Meanwhile, Australia and New Zealand, which scrambled Orion reconnaissance plane flights over Tonga the previous day, has readied and ships for deployment to Tonga. Indonesia's parliament on Tuesday has approved a bill to relocate the nation's capital from Jakarta to a jungled area of Kalimantan on Borneo. The newly approved law, which provides a legal framework for President Joko Widodo, or Jokowi's ambitious mega project, stipulates how development of the capital, named Nusantara, will be funded and governed. It is expected to have a central function and will be a symbol of the identity of the nation, as well as a new center of economic gravity. Plans to relocate the government from Jakarta, a bustling megacity of 10 million people that suffers from chronic congestion, floods and air pollution, have been floated by multiple presidents, but none have made it this far. Jokowi first announced the plan in 2019, but progress was delayed by the pandemic. Australia suffered its deadliest day of the pandemic on Tuesday as a fast-moving Omicron outbreak continued to push up hospitalization rates to record levels, even as daily infections eased slightly. The nation is currently dealing with its worst coronavirus outbreak, fueled by the Omicron variant that has put more people in hospitals and intensive care than at any time during the pandemic. According to data, a total of 77 deaths was recorded, exceeding the previous national high of 57 last Thursday. While authorities usually do not specify the coronavirus variant that leads to deaths, officials have said most patients in intensive care were infected with the Omicron strain, with unvaccinated young people forming a significant number. Raducanu on fire to win on Australian Open debut. Sports coming up next. Sports. Britain's teenage sensation, Emma Raducanu, cleared a dangerous first-round hurdle at the Australian Open, seeing off experienced American Sloane Stephens in a topsy-turvy contest on Tuesday. Raducanu made history by becoming the first qualifier to win a Grand Slam singles title in New York last year, but had won only 2 matches since. The 19-year-old was back to some of her dazzling best on Margaret Court Arena, despite a second-set battle, ousting the American Stephens 6-0, 2-6, 6-1 in a performance that will make her rivals sit up and take notice. She will next play Montenegro's Danka Kovinic, who beat Korean qualifier Jang Si-jong in 3 sets. In the Elbrus region of Russia, the tourist season is in full swing, where a popular ski resort has prepared new slopes for extreme sports lovers. With that, let's take a look as we wrap up Nightline this time around. I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thanks for tuning in and stay safe, Malaysia.